If I told you that the difference between being broke and being financially free comes down to one moment, one boring, almost invisible decision, you probably wouldn't believe me. But it's true. And it usually looks like this. You invest $1,000. You wait an entire month. Then you check your account. It made $10. That's it. No excitement. No breakthrough. Just $10. And in that moment, most people make the decision that quietly shapes their entire financial future. They think this is useless. This is too slow. I need something better. So they quit. They stop investing. They go back to trading time for money. Now somewhere else, another person sees that same $10. Same slow progress. Same boring result. But instead of quitting, they keep going. No motivation. No hype. Just consistency. And years later, those two lives look completely different. One is still working for money. The other has money working for them. Not because they were smarter. Not because they earned more. But because they stayed when it felt pointless. This is what nobody tells you about building wealth. It does not feel rewarding in the beginning. In fact, it feels like a waste of time. Think about the first time you went to the gym. The first few weeks are painful. Your body hurts. The mirror shows no change. The scale barely moves. Every signal tells you this isn't working. Most people quit right there. But the ones who continue reach a moment where everything shifts. The workouts feel easier. Strength increases. Results become visible. Wealth works the same way. But there is one critical difference. You cannot see financial progress early on. There is no mirror for your investments. Just small numbers that feel meaningless. And that is why people fail. Because we are trained to expect instant results. Food arrives in minutes. Entertainment is instant. Everything is fast. So when investing feels slow, we assume something is wrong. But nothing is wrong. You are just in the phase that most people never survive. The phase where effort feels disconnected from reward. The phase where discipline matters more than results. And here is the truth that changes everything. Wealth is not linear. It does not grow in a straight line. It grows slowly, then suddenly. In the beginning, you are doing all the work. Saving money. Staying consistent. Ignoring distractions. It feels like pushing a heavy stone uphill. Every step is effort. Progress is slow. You question if it is even worth it. But if you keep pushing long enough, you reach a point where everything flips. The same force that resisted you now works in your favor. That is how compounding works. At first, your money barely moves. $1,000 earning 1% per month gives you $10. That feels insignificant. But the mistake is judging the system too early. Because that $10 is not the reward. It is the beginning of a system. A system that only works if you let it run. Most people focus on the result. Smart people focus on the process. They understand that the early phase is supposed to feel slow. They expect it. While everyone else is chasing shortcuts, they are quietly building something powerful. A base. Because without a base, nothing compounds. You cannot multiply zero. You cannot accelerate nothing. And this is where most people fail. Not because they lack money, but because they never stay long enough to build momentum. They keep restarting. New plan. New idea. New strategy. Always searching for something faster. But wealth does not reward speed. It rewards consistency over time. There is a hidden threshold in this journey. A point where the numbers finally start to feel different. Where your money begins to respond. Where progress becomes visible. And once you cross it, everything changes. But here is the part that should scare you. Most people quit right before reaching that point. They walk away at the exact moment things were about to work. Because the beginning hides the ending. The slow phase hides the breakthrough. And if you cannot survive the boring part, you will never reach the powerful part. Now here is where everything starts to change. There is a point in your financial journey where the effort you put in stops being the main driver, and your money begins to take over. Most people never reach it, not because it is impossible, but because they quit too early. That tipping point sits around $20,000 invested. Before that, growth feels slow. After that, something different happens. The numbers start to respond. Let's break it down in the simplest way. At $20,000, earning just 1% per month, your money produces $200. Every single month. Without extra work. Without extra hours. And now something subtle but powerful happens. You are no longer investing alone. Your money is investing with you. Imagine you earn $1,500 a month. You decide to invest $300 consistently. Before, it felt like $300 was all you could contribute. But now, with that $200 coming from your investments, you are effectively putting in $500 every month. Without working more. Without earning more. That is the shift. That is the moment where the system begins to work for you instead of against you. And from here, the curve starts bending upward. Slowly at first. Then faster. In a few years, that 20,000 grows toward 50,000. Then toward 100,000. And eventually, the growth each year becomes larger than what you personally contribute. Think about that. There comes a point where your money adds more to your life than your effort does. But reaching that point requires surviving everything that comes before it. And that is where most people fail. Not because they do not understand money, but because they cannot manage themselves. The first mistake is impatience. People want results immediately. When they do not see progress, they assume it is not working. But the system was never designed to reward impatience. It rewards those who stay. The second mistake is lack of control. If you spend everything you earn, there is nothing left to build with. Wealth is not created from income alone. It is created from what you keep. If you are not saving at least a portion of your income, you are not building anything. You are just maintaining your current position. The third mistake is chasing shortcuts. In the desire to move faster, people take unnecessary risks. They jump into hype. They look for quick wins. And instead of accelerating the process, they destroy it. Because one bad decision can erase years of consistency. The fourth mistake is living only for today. Every financial choice is a trade. Present comfort versus future freedom. And if you always choose the present, the future never improves. Now look at two different paths. One person starts early. They invest consistently, even when it feels boring. They reach 20,000. Then 50,000. Then 100,000. And somewhere along the way, everything becomes easier. The second person waits. They think about investing. They plan. They delay. And when they finally start, they have less time for compounding to work. The difference between them is not effort. It is timing. Because time is the force that makes this entire system work. And the earlier you start, the more powerful it becomes. Now here is what accelerates everything. Habits. Not motivation. Not luck. Habits. The habit of investing consistently. The habit of learning how money works. The habit of thinking long-term instead of short-term. The habit of controlling spending, and most importantly, the habit of reinvesting returns instead of consuming them. Because every dollar you reinvest becomes part of the engine. And that engine keeps getting stronger. This is how the wealthy think differently. They do not focus on quick wins. They focus on building systems. Systems that continue working even when they are not. And once that system is strong enough, it creates something most people never experience. Freedom. The ability to choose how you spend your time. The ability to step away from constant work. The ability to let your money handle what your effort used to. And it all started with something that looked insignificant. $10. That moment you almost quit. That moment most people walk away. That was the beginning of everything. The question is simple. Will you stop because it feels slow, or will you continue long enough to see what happens when it finally speeds up?